Mother, man.
Hey guys, this is Ted Bundy back from the dead with Murder Metal Mayhem. About to go do some necrophilia, yeah!
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem! Warning! Trigger alert! Trigger alert! Warning! Trigger alert! Warning! Trigger alert! Warning!
Yeah, it sounds like fucking World War III going
Jesus
on here,
Christ,
Chris.
it's
Some
ridiculous.
warnings
What the
going
fuck's
down.
up?
It's Tuesday is what's going down here at a brand new Murder Metal Mayhem. We're here in Horns High Studios for the Horns High Podcast Network. Got a bonus
251.
episode.
Oh yeah,
for
it's
you.
actually
A
not even
special
251.
bonus.
This is
I
a
know.
bonus.
I was thinking about
It would be
calling it enough.
252.
It would be 252, but it's a bonus, and we're doing a heavy hitter tonight. So
Yes, sir.
this is going to be a good one. I'm here in Horns High with Chris and
What
Joey over there in the 419. How you doing,
I
guys?
am over here.
You guys are doing all right?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Doing great.
Chris
doing
over
great.
there, the nation, everybody's doing good?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. And what T-shirts we got on tonight, gentlemen? This is a special occasion,
I
Chris.
had to rock it out tonight.
Yeah, you're killing it, dude.
I got the Ted Bundy fucking rest in peace Theodore Robert, sorry, I apologize. Bundy shirt that fucking I got from Joey, and I also have on my fucking Ted Bundy fucking Hello Ladies hat they got from Killer Culture Shop. So,
Right.
Because if that doesn't give away what's going on tonight,
That's right.
there you go. There it is.
There it is, exactly. So, and then Joey, what about you over there, dude?
I'm rocking the Decrypt Peter Pan Christ shirt because the homie Justin Wallace passed away
Yes.
yesterday.
Oh,
He
wow.
was vocalist with Decrypt.
Oh,
So
shit.
had to rock this shirt, and I got the Between the Killings hat just to keep it both Indiana.
Nice. And I got my old school Faces of Death shirt on. Fucking love this shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I wore this at the Painted Wraith appearance I did, and man, I got so many people like, dude, where the fuck did you get that? You know, definitely digging it. So very cool. I had a guy at Jersey Mike's saw my my Billy Bat shirt, you know.
Oh,
my
yeah.
fucking Shinebox
Shine
shirt.
box.
And he's like, where the fuck did you get that, dude? And then while he was standing there, he was looking at it on Google, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. And he clicked on it, and he ordered it.
He ordered right there.
on the
That's
spot.
great. Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't get a cut of that, but anyway, whatever. But yeah, so I wanted to bust this one out tonight because we're talking about someone that everybody listening is very familiar with. It's a true crime, icon really when it comes to just awful serial killers. I mean, this guy is like the fucking epitome of it. And we're talking about that fucking law student gone fucking crazy, necrophiliac, suave piece of fucking shit.
Oh, he's fucking fancy.
Yeah, Ted Bundy. So it's going to be a good one. He was active only 4 years, from 1974 to 1978. So for fuck's sake, as much shit as he did, I mean, god dang.
4 years, that's a lot of bodies.
Yeah, a pile of dead women and several more that survived and absolutely brutalized. And we're going to have our buddy Jeff Ignatowski from Scorpion Lair Games in this episode, so that's going to be
Hang out and
awesome.
talk with us, fuck
Talking
yeah.
to us from probably Cincinnati. And so, yeah, we got two people in Ohio, two of us here in Illinois. He's up for the challenge, warming up in the bullpen, throwing fucking 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, getting ready to get in here. And since this is a special bonus episode, remember that means, we're not doing our usual,
And
murder segment and then the metal stuff.
no metal tonight, no killer
mayhem.
cage match, none
Yeah.
of that. We just
Yeah. We only have one song we're going to use for the bumper music just because I had to.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, exactly. So So yeah, so it's different. So if you're listening for the first time, this is a different kind of episode. It's just about one topic, and as I said, we're talking Ted Bundy, and we got a sponsor for the podcast for the month of February. So this is the second run of this one. If you need a tattoo, man, Southern Illinois,
St. Louis area down yonder in Missouri.
yeah. Epic Ink in Edwardsville, Illinois. So, but if you go there, though, ask for Kaylin Sowers, Kaylin Stowers, and I'll link to this in the episode description below. You can go on her Instagram page, which is witchywoman_ink, and there are really cool pictures of her stuff there. So I'm seriously considering taking a trip because it's been like 20 years since I got any ink myself.
Right.
But I'll link to their Facebook page down below. And like I said, the spooky stuff is her thing. And I thought that was super cool, man. Her husband,
hell yeah,
Riley, is the one that bought the ad for Valentine's Day.
Was that what I couldn't remember? It was Valentine's or birthday, but
yeah. So that's fucking cool. And Riley's a big Murder Metal Mayhem listener. And apparently Kaylin heard it last week and was super excited. So that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hopefully she gets some business.
Hopefully, she gets some business out of it. And big thanks to everybody who listens. Keep on spreading that word, and let's keep tearing it up every fucking week.
Yes, sir.
We were at 5,500 again this week, or this past week, so thank you. The YouTube channel was at 176,000 views in
Jesus
the last
Christ.
month. Yeah, it's fucking insane. And the numbers on the channel are just simply amazing. So the YouTube stuff is
appreciate it.
really killing it, and we appreciate you guys crossing over into the podcast. And if you're a podcast listener and you haven't checked us out on YouTube, you got to go do that because there's some cool stuff there. Top 10 cities listening. Chris, why don't you run them down?
Number one, as always, well, not always because it was a short time, but it's Chicago,
Hell
Illinois.
yeah. Thank you, Chicago.
Number two, in Australia, we got Brisbane, Queensland.
They've been there for a long time.
Yes, sir. Number three, we got Brooklyn, New York.
Hey.
Motherfucking four, we got Bloomington, Illinois.
Nice.
Homies, what up? Honolulu, Hawaii at 5. 6 is Adelaide, South Australia.
Nice.
Jackson, Mississippi at 7.
Yes.
Decatur, Illinois at 8.
Yeah.
LA at number 9. Number 10 is Austin, Texas. So hell yeah. All you motherfuckers out there, love it.
Yeah, cool to see Los Angeles getting in the list here and Brooklyn climbing up. So fucking A for all of you guys. And then Joey, what about the countries listening?
U.S. at 78, so under the 88% threshold, but still up there. But Australia with 9%, Canada 3, Germany 2, and then our fucking runners-up. Fucking loving these guys for listening. We got the United Kingdom, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, the Netherlands, and Sweden.
Hell yeah.
Sweden.
So cool to hear those countries and that they're listening to Murder Metal Mayhem. That's just
Yes, sir. Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Make sure you check out the Murder Metal Mayhem website, which is murdermetalmayhem.com. We got some merch on there. We got all kinds of stuff there. So go do that. Check that out if you want to learn out more about what we're doing and why we're doing it and all that. And how Chris and I disgusted somebody at a wedding reception.
That's the beginning.
That inspired us to do Murder Metal Mayhem. We made the guy get up and leave from eating.
That's
because we were
fucking
talking
great.
about Joe Matheny, the cannibal.
Yes,
so.
sir. But yeah.
So yeah.
Check that out. And Joey, hear you bubbling over there. What you got?
Actually smoking one of my favorite strains, and it's the Lilac Diesel.
Lilac Diesel.
Okay.
Right on. I am smoking. I'm not even sure what it is, but I'm gonna but it's fucking fire as shit. But I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call it the Brad Pitt because what's in the box? Like, so I'm gonna call it the Brad Pitt.
Okay. All right.
Hell yeah.
Well, we got a lot on our plates tonight. We're going to need a couple of plates, I think, to stop by and scoop up Jeff for this one. And then we're heading northwest of the United States to see if we can avoid this fucking suave lawyer with a sling who needs help with his fucking books.
Fuck yeah, let's go get our murder on.
Fuck yeah, man. How about
Macabre.
that? Joey, I knew if I didn't play that one, I think you were going to just reach over and slap me from Ohio.
Yeah, necessary with this one.
Yeah, it is.
So Chicago boys, Macabre. And played the whole thing just because, that's the only music you're going to hear tonight other than the intro. So, fuck yeah, definitely ready for this one. And I see Jeff is here with us
What
and
up,
ready
Jeff?
to rock. What's up, dude?
What's up? How's it going, everybody?
Not
It's
too
about
bad.
time.
Kicking total ass. It has been a little while. We had different bonuses going on around the holidays and the big match, the big brawl on the bayou.
Yeah, the brawl on the bayou was
What a
shit.
what a way to end the year, man.
That goddamn pierogi, man.
Dude, but didn't I nail it with the creaking and all? I really took my time with that one, so
Yeah, that shit was fantastic.
really happy the way that turned out. We'll definitely have to do that again.
Definitely,
But
dude.
I think we might have to go to Australia because Mick is claiming he's got somebody to wrestle with us, so we'll have to see. That'll be
Aussie
really
boys.
funny.
Ooh.
Them Aussie boys are tough.
Mick will have fun with that one. He's a great dude, so... All right, well, we are talking about the heavy hitter of heavy hitters tonight, guys. Everybody knows who this guy is. We do a lot of the obscure ones
Ted Bundy.
because we like doing the obscure ones, But tonight, yeah, man, we're going for it. And, we toss in the big cases here and there. We've done quite a few of them, but there's still more to go. And like I said, this dude is very infamous. The recent docuseries on him, and he's been in the news quite a bit because of that. And so I think it's one that I don't know any generation in true crime that would not know
Oh, dude.
who
Obviously,
Ted Bundy is.
Obviously, my daughters, like, my freaking daughter wore this damn shirt to school. Like, Jesus Christ, kid.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't. But Jeff, what is it about Ted Bundy you think that gets the true crime fans all fired up?
Dude, I think there's just so much. Like, Bundy was just that guy that was, he was an attractive guy. He was charismatic. There were a lot of people that just, like, flocked to him because of the way that he talked and the way that he could, like, bullshit people.
Smooth.
And so I think that, he's a smooth operator. And, he just had that way with people. And
Hold
on
on.
top of that...
I just thought of something. Is Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal about Ted Bundy?
I don't know. It could be because he was smooth.
Annie,
like
are you
Jeff's been
okay?
saying,
Yeah, he was a smooth operator. It's funny. I had somebody come up to my booth one time and tell me a story about Bundy, and that her and her sister met Bundy when they were kids, and they were at a restaurant. And her sister, I guess she was like 16. Her sister was 14 at the time. And the mom and dad had gotten up to go use the bathroom. And at the booth behind them, when they got up to leave, Bundy came up and talked to them. Right?
Shit.
And so when he came up and talked to them, he talked to the girl. And of course, years went by. And then all of a sudden, the murders and everything came out. And the sister said, "Holy shit, that was that guy in the restaurant with
God.
us. If it wasn't for you guys being there, I would have definitely left with him because he was super smooth.
Really?
Like, I had no idea.
That's
so like, yeah, that's just like
a great
testament
example
to how,
of why he was so mesmerizing, you know.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about your time down there. It's the Sigma Chi location, because I know you did that on your little tour. So I definitely want to get to that later on in this one, because that'll be cool to hear. But Chris, I mean, we've saved Bundy for special occasions.
Yeah,
Valentine's.
It is
Day
Valentine's Day. It's perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Love
dude,
is in
for
the
Valentine's Day, dude. Fucking, I know my lady loves to hear about raping, murdering necrophiliacs on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, whose woman wouldn't?
Right.
I mean, honestly.
Exactly.
With me, though, I'm doing Bundy tonight, and then I'm on a panel tomorrow talking BTK.
Oh, perfect, dude.
So the back-to-back Bundy
Day.
and BTK on fucking Valentine's.
And also, dude, it's our birth week, bro.
That's right.
My birthday's Saturday. Yours is Sunday.
That's right, dude.
Fucking good fucking time. 17th, 18th.
Back to back.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so that's fucking awesome. But Joey, a guy like Bundy, though, man, you get a wide variety of shit to talk about. I mean, man, we could go on and on about this dude, but what was some of the things, I mean, that he was doing? We've alluded to some of it.
Yeah, I mean, he did so much shit. I mean, his kill count was extremely high, conviction wise and probability wise. You hear, there's a lot of killers and stuff that embellish how many they've killed. I for some reason, I don't think we really know how many Bundy really killed. I think he had a lot more.
I don't think he embellishes numbers at all.
No, and like I said, I think, in my personal opinion, I think he was ashamed of a lot more that he probably did that he never admitted to, because whatever reason, his mind had made him look like a worse person than what he already was. Anyway, but yeah, he did that shit. Necrophilia, I mean, he's known for that. So fucking the dead. He was he loved to thieve. He loved to steal shit. He was basically a criminal at heart, and just fucking maneuvered through the world in crazy ass paths, and left mayhem in those paths. But like he rubbed shoulders with famous people.
Right.
We'll talk about it. The motherfucker was very interesting, and he did so much in the spectrum of his crime wave that to this day people still talk about and everything else. I mean, it's crazy.
Obviously, we're here,
like
here.
The escape shit alone is wild. Just the escapes he did. I mean,
the escapes are fucking crazy, dude.
Fitting through a 1 square foot fucking opening. That's fucking insane. I was looking up at my ceiling when I was writing the notes. We've got the 1 square foot ceiling tile. And I'm told my wife, I said, could you imagine him climbing through that? Like his entire body getting through that, Like, I don't even know if my granddaughter would fit through there, and she's not even 2 yet, Like, it's fucking ridiculous. So, it's definitely going to be interesting. So Ted Bundy was born Theodore Robert Cowell in 1946 in Burlington, Vermont. My sister used to live there, so I've been there. Very nice place.
All right.
His
Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, beautiful rolling hills, really nice. His mother, Eleanor Crowell, was 22 when she had him, and she was at a home for unwed mothers, which was kind of the thing back then.
That's crazy that you just like, back then they actually helped take care of poor people that weren't married. I was just like, fucking deal with it, son.
Yeah, so it was kind of whisked away, people frowned upon it. And, this would impact Ted greatly in his adult life, when we're going to talk about that tonight. But there has been plenty of debate on, who his biological father was. His mom claimed it was a member of the military coming home from World War II, but that's not been confirmed. There's even rumors that it was Eleanor's father, who like was Ted's father. So the fucking I'm my own grandpa,
right? That kind of thing. But also, mom's a hoe.
Apparently. But later, that would be proven with a blood sample to be false. So thankfully, his grandpa wasn't his dad. That's good. So we don't know who his dad really was, and this would play a role in his development and the whole abandonment thing and resentment toward women. So Jeff, I mean, he's raised to think his grandparents are his parents. So what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, his whole upbringing is real weird, right? Later on, when he is interviewed, when he's in jail, right before the execution and everything, he talks a lot about his childhood being normal and it being a good, upstanding Christian household, right? And when we look back and look at his youth and how he grew up, that was all bullshit. Because his upbringing was weird. Like, so he was raised to believe that his grandparents were his parents, and then his mom was actually his aunt, his sister. So he had no idea what the hell was going on and who was who. He didn't know who his mother was. He didn't know who his grandparents were. So he's confused the whole time he's a kid, and he doesn't find out until he's 22 years old. When he finds his own birth certificate. That's when he figures out, like, holy shit, my older sister is actually my mom. What the hell is going on?
And there's no name on my dad's fucking...
All he's thinking about's killing, right? At that moment when he fucking finds that shit, you know, he's like, I'm going to fucking kill every one of these motherfuckers.
Exactly. He's like, fuck this. That's where the rage began, dude.
Yeah, definitely. That definitely is the case, man.
So, you know... It's amazing because when, like, I did some research into Bundy because of my upcoming book. So I had to go back and I tried to look at his childhood and figure out, like, where the hell this all came from. And because he talks about being a good Christian boy, and then you find out that he would dig holes for his friends and, like, hope that they fall in them and have spikes and shit in the holes so that they would get injured.
Vietnam shit.
And one of the girls actually did. She fell in and ended up hurting herself pretty bad. And, you know, it's crazy shit like that he did when he was a kid that you know that shit wasn't normal.
You remember I told this story already that I did that growing up, me and my
making
uncle.
punchy sticks.
That's right.
And now Jeff's making me feel like there's something fucked up in my head. That's why I ended up in prison, because I made goddamn punchy sticks.
So I
wait. I was just going to say, even stupider was the fact that I wasn't doing it to trap other people in them. We did them so we could play in there ourselves, which is even dumber.
I told a story the other day. I forget what I was on. I was on something, and I ended up telling a story on myself.
Acid?
I was going to say, was it LSD?
When I was a kid, we would like build forts and shit, right? So I was building this one fort underneath the I-95 because I grew up right outside of Philadelphia, right? And so I-95 runs all up and down the East Coast. So I was there right by my house building this fort, and this kid was getting on my nerves, and he was doing some shit, and I almost beat him to death with a railroad tie when I was out there. And shortly after that, the cops came to the house with the kid's mom. And I don't know what the hell my dad did or what he said to those people, but they never did bother me.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what he did.
He's like, he's probably going to kill your kid next time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
But yeah,
that's a good story.
You know, talk about old Ted Bundy. I did some fucked up things too.
Yeah. We all kind of did.
So yeah, this is going to have a huge impact on him, and he's going to resent his mom for his entire life, just like Joey, we've been saying. For not telling him the truth, and I can't imagine being in that situation myself, either as a kid or as a parent. I mean, that's fucked up. Got to be a tough deal. But his Aunt Julia would later tell a story about waking up being surrounded by knives from the
circle
kitchen.
Of knives around, and he's just standing there looking at it.
3 years old. He's standing there laughing like, what the fuck?
Like, I would
freak me
flip
out.
my shit too, dude.
That would be fucked up. So in his early years, he would speak fondly of his grandparents, but later on, after the arrest and the trial, he would say that his grandfather was a violent man who beat his wife and dog, is what he was saying. But people in the family were like, that's not true. So who knows? But I'm guessing,
said his fucking grandpa fucking take cats around the neighborhood and just grab my tails and
Swing
whip
them.
them around like lassos and shit. So like, who knows?
That's like the shit that Ed Kemper would talk about, like tying the cats' tails together and like letting them kill each other.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, definitely fucked up.
I mean, who knows what happened? Maybe he fucking did want to fucking just be like, fuck my grandpa, I'll throw him under the bus. Or maybe that's what happened. And previous, he's like, oh, I don't want to tarnish his name. But then after that, he's like, fuck that, dude.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It's hard to say, right?
Who knows? He was very good at making people believe what he wanted.
Yeah, good liar, that's for sure.
Dude, I'll tell you, that story about him with the knives,
Right.
it reminds me of a similar story. Like, me growing up, I didn't go in and like have knives like sitting around, but like I used to go to sleep and I put knives all around my bed, and up on the bedpost I had like a bunk bed, so I would tape knives and shit because I thought my mom was coming to kill me.
Jesus Christ, dude!
And I wanted to make sure I got her first.
I think we need to get help for
Jesus.
Jeff.
Wow. Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. That's wow. So he's growing up to be, resent being in a poor house. He didn't like being in a poor household, feeling like he wasn't as good as everybody else. And he's got this issue with his mom, taking hold of his future relationships with women. And he would feel like, they couldn't be trusted. So, but Joey, I guess his grandmother struggled with depression and mental health as well.
I mean, yeah, it seemed to be in his family a little bit from everything that was, said, and they talk about how, especially it could skip a generation too. So,
right,
if that was his grandma and not his aunt or Brunkle or whatever
Brunkle.
it was at the time, but whatever. But yeah, they say that can skip a generation, so maybe Bundy got that. It's hard to tell. Like with Ted Bundy, they did remove his brain after they killed him for scientific purposes and found no abnormalities. So physically, no abnormalities.
Right.
So possibly his issues were more psychological.
I mean, I would say so.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was saying though that they did electroshock therapy to his mom, but I'm not sure if that's true.
I mean,
wow.
And back then, I mean, especially to a lady or something, you gotta be pretty sure they're goddamn fucked up or a witch. Right?
Oh, in the end, he got electroshock therapy.
That's true. Yeah. That is true.
Karma's a bitch, man. Sure. 1950, good one.
Smells like meat.
1950, Ted's mom changed her last name to Nelson and moved with him to Tacoma. I don't know if she just picked that out of a fucking ad in a magazine or what. And she goes to Tacoma with him, stays with her cousins. A year later, she meets Johnny Bundy. Johnny Bundy, and at a singles dance, and that's how he ends up with the last name Bundy. They were married, and then Johnny adopted him. So,
could you imagine if you heard tomorrow that, like, that everything that happened in the murders, it was Johnny Bundy, not even Ted? They ain't even related, bro.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good indication the DNA was fucked up. But Jeff, Ted would grow up reading true crime magazines. Boy, we've heard this shit before.
So, it's funny. Not too long ago, I was curious, right, about this whole shit with these True Detective magazines, right? So I bought one from the time that Ted Bundy would have been, like, picking through people's trash and shit, right? And if you guys are on video or on YouTube, this is the issue that I got, right?
Oh, no shit.
And it's like the November 1946 issue or something like that. Oh, no, 1957. So November 1957. And I got to tell you, I looked through this. Yeah, I looked through this shit, and I was wondering, I was like, all right, what is it about this that would fuck somebody up psychologically? Because We know that Bundy looked at them. We know that BTK looked at them. Robert Burdella was another one that looked at them. There are probably 10 or 15 killers that use these, that look through these types of magazines. And I'll tell you, looking through there, they are super graphic, very detailed. And they go through all of the shit. They show the dead bodies. They show the dismemberments, all kinds of stuff, right? And so I could see why, for people with that kind of paraphilia, if they're looking at all that shit, how that would get them to a place where they felt like they needed
it for
that.
real.
And they needed to, they needed that for real in their life.
Yeah. I had no idea that there was like graphic like death scenes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's wild. So I was just reading an article, and I'm going to go to Burdella's house this weekend when I'm in Kansas City. But Burdella, apparently there was a specific issue, and there was a specific girl. He called her something Gracie, Glorious Gracie, I think it was. Anyway, I found the magazine, and I ordered a copy of it. I have it. It's on the way coming to the house.
Shit.
It is so I'm curious to look at that article and to see the pictures and understand like what that did to his mind to get him to the place to start killing. It's wild.
That is wild.
Wild
I had
shit.
no idea. That's interesting. This is a childhood friend in Tacoma would say he loved to terrorize the other kids, scaring them. Called them mean-spirited. He was also known to torment animals. We talked about this with Kemper, but, hung a cat from the clothesline and doused it with lighter fluid.
That's fun times.
Lit it on fire. I mean, some fucked up shit.
You've never done that?
No, I have not done that.
Man, what have you been doing your whole life?
That's just, that's fucked up.
Dude,
So
you're going to make me tell all kinds of stories on myself tonight. I love cats. I have 4 of them now. But when I was a kid, I took my grandfather's dog and I covered the dog in motor oil, right? And the dog bit my face. I used to have a scar on my face, and they had to give me a tetanus shot in my ass because of it. But I was fully intent to cover that dog in the oil and light him on fire.
You're a fucking dick.
I told you I had all the markers, man. It's bad.
And then, Chris, we were talking about the punji sticks, man. Like, as we
like fucking Jeff was saying, like that takes work building up a pit, and then you're fucking taking these sticks and jabbing them in crossways at each other to where you fall in and you're fucked, dude.
I wonder if he was dipping them in his own shit like they did in Vietnam.
Dude, if he was doing it legit style, yes. Anything to give you a disease, yes.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Fucking, and like Jeff is saying, they fucking, that one girl, like young girl, fell and got pretty fucked up, but then that proceeds to go into his future crimes. Now it's like, oh, I love to see the pain, and he brings the pain.
Yeah, definitely. And then Joey, he's a loner in high school. I mean, another common thing we see all the time with these cases, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of documented about him, so I guess they know all this shit. It's weird to me that he was such a loner and a prankster and, terrorizing people. Where did he get his mojo? Was it just into college or whatnot, when all of a sudden he became suave and was able to talk to girls? Because usually if a motherfucker's awkward like that through their adolescence, they don't just all of a sudden snap into something different later on. So
it ain't a movie.
Yeah, he's a special case. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if he had that shit back then and fucking, he just really didn't play on it or whatnot. But man, I feel like he had to have been working. He was a slick motherfucker, and he fucking he manipulated, used, and tricked so many. These people weren't all stupid people that he fucked with. You know what I'm saying? Like
college
his
kids,
victims and stuff, right? And so it's, I don't know.
Yeah, they weren't junkies.
Like I said, he's a special case.
That kind of shit,
Right. Yeah, Bundy. That's true. Bundy, he wasn't a motherfucker that was going to go out and kill prostitutes and stuff like that because he felt like he had more class than that.
Right.
I'm going to get, which makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
So it's funny, and we haven't mentioned it yet, and we're getting ready to go into some of his like college stuff and everything. But when he was a kid, like when he was like he had his paper route and stuff, that's when he started stalking women, right, in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he was going out there and he was reading those true crime magazines and, you know, standing behind the tree at night, peeking in their windows and jerking off in the bushes and shit. And I know you guys know EJ Hammond, right? We all hung out at Dark History and HorrorCon. And so that's where I met her too. And so me and EJ are pretty good friends. She just wrote a Bundy book called Memories of the Beast. I actually have a copy of it right here. It's a great book. You all should check it out. But anyway, one of the things that she talks about is that she believes that Bundy's first kill was when he was like 14 years old. And that he killed a young girl. Like he was either 12 or 14. And there's a girl that went missing in the neighborhood, and they never have found her. Like they've not found the body or anything. But it was really close to Bundy's paper route that this girl disappeared. So, you know, it's not commonly believed. Like, we all think that Bundy started killing much later. But there is a possibility that he did it when he was young.
Ann Rule thought the same thing, that he started as a teenager and didn't... he hit his stride when, you know, he was already in his 20s and been doing it for a while. So after...
I want to elaborate on the last thing I was saying real quick because it kind of because I smoke weed and it makes me think, you know. So Bundy, like when he was growing up through high school and shit, now he was pretty much like, you know, he wasn't a druggie, he wasn't into drinking, he didn't really socialize on that level, but later on he did turn into an alcoholic. And that makes me wonder if, maybe that's when he got that courage and the ability, you know, that makes sense.
That's a good point.
Dahmer did that shit, too.
Right.
Dahmer is a fucking straight-up fucking lush, too. You know, Chris, you know.
Hey, fuck you.
Well, it does seem like that to kill, Bundy had to drink.
Oh, yeah, that's what he was saying.
Because it almost all of his murders, he was wasted. He was significantly intoxicated.
And Dahmer too.
So,
I know we talked with Bob at Shakers.
Yeah.
He was talking about Dahmer coming in there when he was hunting and shit. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. So after
I get to see him soon.
That's cool. That's cool. So after his high school graduation, Bundy goes to college to study Chinese, of all things. 1967, I know.
That's pretty fucked
bounces around to end up at Washington State University in Seattle. Then he dates Diane Edwards. Now, in the biographies, she's sometimes known as Stephanie Brooks. He would later claim she was the only woman he ever loved, but a year later, he drops out of college, had some odd jobs. Gets into politics, though, by volunteering to help
Why are you
out.
going to drop out of college if you're going to get into politics? That makes no sense.
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, wait, you got to be stupid.
But he wants to volunteer to help the Nelson Rockefeller presidential campaign in Seattle. So politics becomes a thing that he's really interested in. He aligns himself with the Republican Party. And so, Jeff, I mean, we know all about these serial killers that gravitate toward politics, man. What is the deal? That personality, man.
Dude, I honestly, I think to be a politician, you have to be significantly narcissistic.
You think?
And I think, like, when we talk about Gacy and you talk about Bundy, like serious narcissist, right? They believe that everything that they think or how they feel or their views on things are absolutely the absolute truth, and nobody can tell them wrong. And I think it's an essential thing for politicians. And I think that because they're always searching for power and influence, that they gravitate towards those things. One of the other things that you mentioned that's really funny, the whole Stephanie Brooks thing as a pseudonym, one of the very, very few things when EJ was going through and reviewing like the book, I I used the wrong name. I didn't use Diane Edwards, right? And she was like, Jeff, you got to change that because that wasn't her real name. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you'd read, I mean, how would you know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't remember. I've read enough stuff on him. I couldn't remember which one was which. So I wanted to make sure I put all the ones that they mentioned. It's also common for politicians to be lawyers. So that may be what got him interested in law. He's starting to kind of read people. He's very involved in the campaign of the Lieutenant Governor of Washington as his driver and bodyguard, which is pretty funny.
That's because he knows that the governor gets all the chicks. So
that's probably a pretty good indication of that. So Diane graduates and moves away to San Francisco. He would visit her and ended up getting a scholarship to Stanford to continue studying Chinese, so not letting that fucking Chinese thing go. Now, Chris, in August of '68, what happens with old Diane, man?
Diane / Stephanie, whichever, I don't know. Fucking, she's pretty much done with this dude. She's like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't like where you're going in life. I'm done. And she bounces. And that's basically where I think that was the kite string popped, as Acid Bath would say.
Right.
Because after that, he just, honestly, if you look at it, everybody he goes for looks like her.
Right.
Yeah,
it definitely.
And that's where it just stops. He's like, I was so in love with you, and you just bouncing like that. I'm done.
Yeah, he was destroyed from that. That's for sure. And so that leads into the next catastrophic thing. We alluded to this earlier. Summer of '68, he ends up bouncing around from Colorado to Arkansas, then attends Temple University in Philadelphia. And author Ann Rule, who actually worked with Bundy when he was in Washington at that suicide hotline, she wrote the book about him, which is fascinating. I've got a copy, The Stranger Beside Me. Very iconic in true crime, very fascinating. That she was working right next to him all the time and had no idea.
No fucking clue while he was doing it.
Right.
Had no idea.
Yeah. So she said that this would have been around 1969, and she believes he went to Vermont and discovered that birth certificate, like Jeff was saying, and that's what set off this whole chain reaction. So you got the breakup with Diane. And then shortly after that, the trip to Vermont to find a birth certificate. And that is when, going back to the acid bath, the kite string fucking snapped. And he was fucking just out of his fucking mind. And we're going to find out what the hell, winds up becoming of this. Because, in 2 years, you've lost what he says is the love of his life. And then to find out your sister is really your mom. You'd feel like nothing is real anymore and would question everything. And that's a fucked up place to be at 22 years old, So, Joey, I mean, this is really like fucking lighting the match here, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about earlier. I also agree with the theory that he probably killed earlier on, so... Just putting that out there. I'm not saying like all of a sudden there was a fucking switch that he just because I do think that it started kind of.
But that's where he kind of went.
But anyway,
crazy. Just like fuck it from now on.
Yeah,
right.
But there was. But we talked about the first event though. Finding out about his family and like that shit fucking really fucking made him feel twisted and fucking gave him a sense of fucking hatred and rage. I feel, and then he found something with, Diane, I think, that he had never experienced before. He was out still fucking doing dumb shit and stealing shit and being Bundy, I'm sure, probably peeping Tom and stuff, but I bet for him that he was more on the straight and narrow than he had ever been with her because he was so into her, Right. And then whenever she's like, no, I'm out of here, he's like, fuck all this, like, I fucking want to kill you a fucking 100 times over and do it in the fucking worst ways possible, and that was his plan. He set out for that.
Yeah, mission accomplished.
After the birth certificate, though, he's probably like, what was so wrong about me that all this shit had to fucking happen? Why can't you just tell me the truth?
Yeah, right.
Like my head, what's wrong with me?
Right.
And now you're like, all right.
Dude, I think it's interesting that, she broke it off with him. And it was because she felt like he wasn't, he didn't have any ambition. Now, this is a guy that's going to college for all these different things, is wanting to, become a lawyer and stuff like that. And of course, it's not quite yet, but he's jumping around and doing all this stuff. And I think maybe later on he does more of that because he realizes that to get these women, he needs to appear more responsible than he is, right? And, the whole Chinese thing apparently wasn't doing it for him. Because I think her family had money. And so he wasn't able to live up to that because his family was poor as shit. So, and I think the rest of the time, as far as his academic career and everything, he was really trying to prove to her that he could be responsible, that he could get to that next level, and that he could make the money that she needed to support her and everything. And she just got tired of waiting.
Just like,
and she was like,
I'm out.
Fuck it.
Yeah, she was smart. I mean, really.
There's people that find out every day, the shit that he found out, fucked up family background or whatever. Fucking Maury Povich is showing us how many times people ain't the father, you know what I'm saying? Fucking, that don't mean these people are going to go out and do this shit.
Right.
The thing is we're talking about Bundy and his narcissistic personality, and it's not so much a case, this is me speaking, but I don't think it was so much a case of Bundy being like, fucked up about what happened because, fucking the way it played out or whatever. He was fucked up about it because of his narcissism. He was like, oh, that makes me look fucked up, and now what have I done to, his anger was self-induced is
I
what
agree
I
with
think.
that.
Yeah. Because he was like, oh, this is still about me, but this is negative about me, and I'm going to fucking be pissed about it.
I got to figure a way to flip it.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, where a lot of people, they might find out, oh, that's fucked up, and you get through it, and you talk to somebody or whatever. You don't go out and kill fucking 50 people.
And maybe being a narcissist was his way to adapt to feeling so low about himself. It was like overcompensating for it,
Right.
Radical kind of way here. But I mean, Jeff, I know you were dealt a tough hand as a kid. And you've obviously, taken fucking hold of that shit, and you've become very successful. And I think that's awesome. And like Joey was alluding to, it's weird how like some of these kids in these families, go down this dark path like Ted Bundy, and then others take the path like you took, and albeit rocky like the rest of us, but I mean, came out ahead. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that whole concept of, a kid in that situation, man?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to choices for all of us. There are plenty of times in my life where I could have chosen a different path, and I could have chosen to really fuck things up. And, and ultimately, for all of us, it only takes one really bad decision to put you in a really bad place.
Oh, yeah.
And then once you start spiraling out of control, it's difficult to get a hold of that. I was fortunate enough to have people around me that were able to get me into a place where I could find hope when I needed it, and where I could find that change and the positivity in different things.
And that's
badass. Even though it's always been, difficult, and I've always had to struggle, I've always understood that, I've always been a survivor, right? It doesn't fucking matter. No matter what happens, I'm going to figure out a way to make it work.
And you've done great.
Just because that's my personality. Yeah. And, there's all kinds of challenges, but at any point in there, I could have chosen to let it bog me down and get me to a place where I wanted to react and hurt other people, and it would be easy to do that. And these people that we're talking about don't have that ability, right? They don't have the ability to look forward and understand that it is all about how you react to things that changes your destiny. Dude. Right? You have a choice in all of that shit. And the faster you can figure that out, the better life is.
No, that's definitely
I love
points
it.
fucking
I love
taken.
it.
That's great, dude. Now, Chris, we're gonna see, that Ted's life is fucking
Can go downhill
falling
pretty
apart
fucking
pretty
quick, dude. It's from here on out. Yeah, it's just not good. We're
Yeah.
gonna
He's in the
see
top
some
10.
action. Yeah, top 10 in the fucking list. Infamous U.S. serial killers. Fucking
And Peter Vronsky talked about that
the golden age
age.
of serial, and he's up there. Same place, fucking Ridgeway went to like area, not school. And
Right.
Like him and Ridgeway were in school at the same time in the same area,
Yeah.
like doing, and it's so fucked up that
That's
it all
crazy.
happened up there.
Right. Definitely. But there are defining moments that are, hard to perceive, and then some, like in the case of this guy, that are like a chasm. I mean, it's so ridiculously obvious. The Grand Canyon in this motherfucker's case, losing Diane, finding out about his mom. He was already, like we believe, was probably already maybe had some kills under his
Probably.
belt. But this like really set the fuse off. And maybe it was something in his DNA that left him predisposed to this. We talked about the grandmother and maybe the skipping the generation. It's just fascinating to think of what, makes somebody like this tick. And this is what keeps the true crime junkies glued to their, their phone or their tablet or whatever they're listening to this on, because they love to solve puzzles. They love to try to figure shit out. And that's what makes the true crime community the best.
This dude's fucking
And
whack.
it's also partly understanding what makes a person tick to do that heinous shit, And it is a fascination of me and many other people here, all of us here tonight. And I've been at it for, at least 40 years, since Son of Sam times. That's my earliest recollection of it. So, being in the
I don't
Bronx.
remember offhand what the first thing I heard about serial killer was. Probably Dahmer being.
Yeah, when I was at my grandma's house in the Bronx that summer, I think it was 78, 77 or 78, he was doing his thing, and, he had killed some of the victims in the Bronx. And I remember when it was getting dusk, all the parents called the kids in because he was still out there, didn't want their kids out,
Right.
at dark. So, it was pretty scary. It was like 10, 11, so I remember it. It was frightening. But Joey's back in Washington now, and he's got a new woman. What's up with the new woman?
Elizabeth Klopfler. I think it's Klopfler.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
They call her all different kinds of things depending on what you're watching.
Right.
Meg Anders and Beth Archer, a lot. But anyway, we're gonna call her Elizabeth, and she has a 3-year-old daughter now. It seemed like they all really got along, and like he took a liking to this kid,
Dude, that for
hung
real.
out with it and tried to be like a dad figure supposedly, but
Right.
I mean Bundy's fucked off. He's a weird ass dude, so I don't know. Later on, she came out and said that he did some creep ass shit to her,
and not good shit.
exposing himself. And now this is Ted Bundy we're talking about, so is the probability there? Yes.
Right.
It's also Ted Bundy, who's also super famous,
Right.
so I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not even going to say it, but
we
y'all
don't
know what
know.
I'm thinking. But
Yeah.
yeah,
We don't know.
You don't know. That's all I'm going to say is that we weren't there, so I'm not going
Right.
to say that this was some kind of factual thing. Are there reasons why it could have came out? Yes, there are.
But knowing Bundy,
now
probably.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's the thing with Bundy too is would he have told about that? Because he talked about a lot of his kills later on. He
Right.
let himself be fucking analyzed and shit, and fucking
Right.
drew out his sentence forever. But he he didn't talk about some things. That's what I'm saying. I
Right.
think there was, and anything he would have did in his younger life would have been younger girls probably. Kimberly Release, the last one, he didn't talk about that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Fucking,
Yeah, I get
those
what
were
you're
his
saying.
own. That was his own dark, sick shit that he was able to delve into and make a reality for himself. He kept that shit to himself, his darkest shit. I've always believed that.
Yeah.
He talked about the shit he wanted to talk about.
Right. And I'm sure if he was
And that
doing
makes
this
a lot of fucking
to a
sense.
7-year-old, he wouldn't have been bragging about it later. You know what I mean? He was embarrassed by it.
And I'm not, and like I said,
Yeah.
it's Bundy. He probably did do some shit. So I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying there's two sides to every coin. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably touch on this later, but I think that is one of the things, like later on when he does all of his interviews and everything, he is always trying to steer the conversation, and any information that he gives out, any information that he offers up, whether it's to another case or for his own case, all was predicated on the fact that he wanted a stay of execution.
Yeah.
Right? And he had gotten several of them during that time. So like he was not giving up anything because he wanted to clear his conscience. He was giving up shit because he hoped that the governor or whoever was listening.
Yeah, well, it wasn't no goddamn Pall Malls and strawberry milkshake, and I'm pissed off.
No, he drove a tough bargain, I guess, right? But
I think that Bundy too. I think Bundy wanted to. I wanted his book to be written and shown that he was the absolute perfect serial killer, and everything he did was, you know what I'm saying. He loved it. He loved the fact that he was in that position and the glory he would get, and he wanted to be the top dog in that shit.
Right.
And be the suavest fucking killer of all time. Right. It's
I'm going to do this till the day I die.
He molded it, yeah.
And he did.
Yeah, so the shit that he would admit to and the shit that he would talk about was to pump every bit of those fucking angles up so that people remembered it the way he wanted it to be.
And he got it.
That's a good point. So here's another point in his life where he goes even further down that dark path. Now he potentially was assaulting young girls, and that's setting the stage here for some serious fucking depravity. It's 1970. Bundy seems determined to get his shit together, probably to get back at Diane for saying, he didn't have any drive and that. And he's back at the University of Washington, but now he's a psychology major, so he changes from Chinese to psychology. Bit scary for a dude like this.
He's trying to learn how his brain works.
Yeah, I mean, pretty scary, a guy like this, and that's how he ends up at that suicide hotline working with Ann Rule. And some say that, he did this to make himself seem like he was being a good guy, that persona, sense. That type thing. But he graduates college in 1972. He goes to work again for a politician. This time he's posing as a college student to infiltrate the opponent's rallies, which I thought was pretty interesting. And he's recording them, audio recording them for the other candidate. So he's really starting to hone these skills for like deception, reading people, conning people. I mean, he is like the fucking master, and he's learning like on, hands-on doing this shit. And I mean, he was admired by that politician and others for his, his tenacity, because he wouldn't fucking quit. And, he admired them for their power, their status, and I think something that he thought he never had either, so.
He wants it so bad, so he's trying to get deep into that as fast as he can.
Right. All right, Jeff, so it's 1974, and right before things are kicking off here, man. How's this go down?
Dude, so, he is, not having the greatest grades, but he's there in law school, right?
He's there.
So, he's there, but, I don't know. I don't know if he just, was there fucking around like a lot of us do.
He was hunting.
Or if he was actually trying and he just couldn't fucking figure it out.
Right.
And I think that if that's the case, I think that also plays into his psychology, right?
He can't do it.
He thinks that he thinks that he's the best, but he can't make it happen the way that they want him to. So I bet you he had this mindset of well, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I know how to do it better. And later on,
we'll
we see that when he when he represents himself, right, as his own lawyer,
right,
and he's a smart guy, but I think he's one of those people that he really believes that he is the best at everything, and nobody can tell him different,
right.
And
he's like Ricky
not
Bobby,
saying that I know that from personal. I can't say that I don't. I don't know that shit from personal experience, right?
So he's enrolled in law school in Seattle. Diane is flying back and forth to see him. And as they discussed, marriage at some point, Bundy completely breaks it off with her. So that is crazy. We talked about this when we were talking about Joseph Stalin with the, remembering what people did to you and fucking that long con game. And then he just fucking totally does to her what she did to him. So, she calls him back demanding to find out why he broke it off with her. And he just says, Diane, I have no idea what you mean.
Talking about?
In this very flat voice, which definitely a little unnerving. She just hangs up, and that was the last she ever heard from him. But he would later say that he wanted to prove to himself that he could marry her, is what he said. So
one of the things that I didn't know about that whole story there is that during that time he was still with Liz, right? Elizabeth?
Right.
Like, he was still dating her and seeing her and, planning out a life with her and talking about getting married to her while he's again seeing Diane.
Right.
And talking about marrying her. So everything that he is doing is just so that he can say that, you know what, I could get you.
Right.
If I wanted to,
I'm the man.
I could have you.
Right.
But I don't really want you anymore.
Right.
I'm past that.
Right.
Because at that point he had already transcended past that relationship.
Right.
It's crazy. Just to prove that he could get what he wanted.
Yeah, that's so fucked up. Definitely. So, Chris, Bundy told a lot of things to a lot of people that interviewed him about his early crimes. So we really don't know.
Nobody
for sure.
knows. There was this one girl he talked about kidnapping in 69 or some shit, 1969. But he didn't kill her. Probably just did vile things to her.
Right.
But he didn't kill her, is what he says. And in 1971 in Seattle, same thing. But who knows? These dudes fucking talk about shit. But
right.
like Cashman was saying earlier, though, dude, that's something that's not his darkest secret. Like the kid thing we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. Why would he make that up? Because he has no problems telling you about everything else that he's done that's been proven.
Yeah,
why make it up?
I don't know, man. But like you said, some of these guys just talk shit to embellish and make themselves look bigger than they are.
And get strawberry milkshakes.
That's right. So he was the master manipulator until the end. He read people well and had that charisma, as we've been saying. And Ann Rule believed that Bundy started killing as a teenager and was honing his skill. And this would be at a time where there was no DNA. The serial killers in the golden age had that advantage that the killers of today do not. And his first murder, according to this account, was 1974 when he was 27, but we all believe that was probably sooner than that. Ann Rule believes that he had mastered the technique by then, so he had been doing it much earlier. So that aligns with what EJ was talking about when Jeff was mentioning her book. So that's interesting. And Joey, so Karen Sparks is the first known victim there in January 1974.
Yeah, Bundy's like, new year, new me. Let's get this going,
Right,
boys.
for real.
And he's,
that ain't no bullshit.
man, yeah, but he found her in her she had a basement apartment, and that was in Washington, Oregon, not to be confused with Oregon, Washington. Right. But he beat her about the head and face and killed her with a fucking steel rod, which that right there he brought that with her. It's not something he found in the house.
No.
So he was intent on causing damage.
Right.
So the probability that it wasn't his first was definitely there, because a lot of times the first is
break in and find
a
something.
messier experience, right? Or just opportunity. This time, I think he was fucking peeping Tom. He knew he was gonna fucking kill her. He brought the weapon, fucking pummeled her. He soldiered her fucking repeatedly with the fucking weapon. She did have Or she didn't die.
Yeah, she survived, but she had brain damage.
She had brain damage, but she was. But then he ended up killing right after this. But
is she the one that was the dancer and it fucked up her ear?
No, that's coming up here. Right. So, but a month later, he strikes again, and that's the 21-year-old that he killed and dumped the body outside somewhere after assaulting and killing him.
And he still did the same thing that he did, you know, with Karen Sparks. The fact that Karen Sparks was still alive, I think probably, I think it surprised Bundy even more than it surprised anybody else. Yeah. And, you know, the fact that she was his first known victim is kind of crazy, too, because this goes to show you how far back police techniques and everything else has been able to dig up, at least.
Right. You know? So now he started, and there's quite a few victims. So we're going to summarize things as necessary to avoid a 6-hour episode here. Because with this guy, I mean, you really could do that. We could do this in 3 or 4 parts. The first 6 months in 1974, there was about 1 female student per month disappearing in Oregon, which is unbelievable. 2 females came forward to report some strange encounters with a guy wearing a sling and driving a Volkswagen Beetle, and we know that was a ploy of Bundy to get women to help him so he could abduct them.
And you know they used that in Silence of the Lambs.
That's right.
You know they did.
Yeah.
And Jeff, I mean, he's hunting college women, not like the typical. We were just talking about this. The prostitutes, the drug addicts. He's going for the attractive young college girls.
Oh yeah, Bundy definitely had a type. You know, he was somebody that went after a very specific, dark-haired, certain bodies type woman. He did not just go after anybody.
No, not at all.
And we talk about a lot of killers that they just don't care. They just want to kill.
Right.
But Bundy was obviously wanting to kill a certain person, right? Yeah, he had very specific things. One of the other things that I found out when I was doing research, and there was some debate when me and EJ were going through some things, is that there is a ramping up of like when Bundy is killing. Reading all the stories and seeing all of the different reports of how he would pick women up and the different techniques that he would use, and then he'd dump the bodies and stuff like that. I didn't realize that there was a period, I found a police report where they believed that he actually went to this one location and he took several girls there and held them captive for several days. One of them, I think, up to a couple weeks, where he was going there and torturing them and raping them. And that's something that you don't really hear about Bundy very often. We talk about, these where he beats the girl on the head and, molest her with the bar, and again he does that later on in the Chi Omega house, where he goes in and he beats a couple of the girls to death in a very frenzied way. But we don't really talk about the extended periods of time that Bundy would take these women, abduct them, and hold them. And I think that's interesting because it shows that development of him trying to figure out how to kill and how he wants to ramp up and what really gets him excited. Is it the torturing? Is it the killing them? Is it the having sex with the dead bodies afterwards? Because eventually that's where he goes. So it's really interesting, that progression of killing that we see in Bundy and the progression of his dirty deeds, right?
That's a truth.
I like I'll give it up to fucking the Parker Lewis Bundy movie, because they did fucking show that he had a little spot where he took all them fucking ladies to, and so I, like you said, they don't really talk about that a whole lot though, Jeff. So that was the one time in the movie. None of the other Bundy movies ever showed that either, but that one they showed that and they made a scene about it, and I was like, cool, I'm glad they did.
Yeah, that's true,
dude. I'll tell you what. The guy who plays him in that movie, Corin Nemec.
Parker Lewis.
He's amazing.
Awesome dude. Dude, I hung out with him a bunch. Awesome. I think it was at the first, when we met, at the first Dark History Con. He was there with Bishop Stevens. and I end up hanging out with him afterwards. I actually still have Corin's phone number.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Fucking awesome,
That's
dude.
cool. That's cool.
But
That's cool. So there's other accounts coming in about a man on crutches that's driving a Beetle. So it's starting to jive with some of these earlier reports. And ironically, Bundy is working in Olympia, Washington, as an assistant director of the Seattle Crime Prevention Advisory
Perfect.
Commission.
Again?
What the fuck? He even wrote a pamphlet for women to assist them in rape prevention.
Yeah.
I mean, what the
I thought that
fuck?
was fucking crazy, dude.
God damn, that is fucking
Dude.
ballsy, man. This guy just
Who better to write
Right.
it? Maybe.
He's
I
like, don't
know.
hang out with me.
dude,
stay away from this.
I would love to own one of those fucking.
Yeah,
things.
would
How
that be the-
fucking
Can
awesome
you
would that
imagine
be?
having one of
Oh
those?
God!
That'd be
Right.
amazing.
The Ted Bundy rape prevention pamphlet.
Right.
We fake commercial, bro.
There you go. There you go. What was the rides with Bill
get
when we
into-
did that episode with the? I can't remember who it was now. The serial killer who was given rides home as like a ride share.
Oh
To
shit!
the
Who the
employees.
fuck was that?
Bill,
I don't even
right,
remember
take a
at
ride
the
with
moment.
Bill or something like that. Yeah. So Joey, these women just keep, or sorry, Chris. I mean, he's working for this department. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous, man. And Joey, the women just keep disappearing, man.
I mean, that's what's going on. It's the golden age of serial killing, as we said, and we got the fucking king of them going right now. Although Gary Ridgway would probably fucking have a thing or two to say about that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that Ridgway is smart enough.
Right, yeah,
true.
I agree with
Right?
that.
I don't know that he's
Yeah.
smart enough to even know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, Ridgway, his MO was the ones that you wouldn't know and fucking care about and fucking eat. Yeah, you're right. But what was crazy about it, though, is fucking whatever that, later on we'll talk about it, but Bundy, when he was talking to the FBI about Ridgway and shit, and fucking basically he was explaining the shit that he was doing, but fucking placing it on
Right.
how Ridgway did it,
Yeah.
and it was almost spot on. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I
as hell.
got that book
Yeah.
too, where Bundy goes and helps the FBI there. But Chris, I forgot to mention
this
that
is-
Carol Ann Boone.
Oh, yeah.
When he met
Yeah.
Carol Ann Boone, she becomes a part of this story later
I
on.
don't even remember this part of her.
Yeah, well, at the beginning, it's just like he meets her, but then it gets more
My bad.
intense with those two. But Joey, I mean, the gun sales are going up. Fucking
That's what I'm
Deadbolt.
talking about. Yeah, he's already caused. I mean, this is a fucking national scare.
Right.
This motherfucker's killed. I mean, it's the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's
but
going crazy.
People are hearing about this. The fucking media is already talking about it, newspapers and shit. And I mean, I don't know. Bundy's narcissism. He's so stoked on everything he probably hears about any crime that he commits. You know what I'm saying? That he fucking just pines over that shit over and over. Can you imagine, like, the internet age, like, all the shit that's been written about him and all? He would fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
Just going over the internet.
He would. But the police are getting the heat from the public because they're freaking out, and they're trying to work with what they got about this guy with slings and crutches, coaxing women to help him in a bronze
Trying
or
to be a cop.
tan-colored Volkswagen Beetle. And they also know that he's, told some women that his name is Ted, which that always struck me as odd. Like, why use your real name, as smart as you are? And that cockiness, I think, was where this comes from. But, I mean, the Beetles were a very popular car at the time. My dad actually drove one for quite a while.
Right.
But I don't think he was commuting from New York to Washington to do this. So I think my dad is not guilty of any of these murders.
It might have been your dad.
But he drove a Beetle. But Jeff, I mean, what do you think about him using his real name like that? Was it the narcissism?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just. I think it was that, and I think it was like, just kind of like a Freudian slip, right? He's just in the moment and he's not thinking about it.
Ted, what's up?
And I think that at that point he was so deep into all of the killing that he just didn't think that there was any way that they were going to be able to get away. So they're never going to be able to say anything, right? Because he's already killed so many at this point that he's just like, you know what? They're never going to say anything. So it doesn't matter what I
Right.
tell them. Like, the news doesn't know my name. Nobody else knows who I am. You know, I'm listening to all these things that they're putting out
Right.
there, and none of it is coming back on
Right.
me. So I can do whatever the hell
All
I
right,
want.
there you go.
No, that's a good point, dude. That's a good point.
Speaking, you were mentioning the Volkswagen Beetle. I got to show you guys this shit.
Oh fuck!
I should have grabbed it. I should have grabbed it at the break earlier. But I bought this fucking thing
Ha!
at a show not too long ago.
Right.
That's
Right?
nice.
And it's the same model Volkswagen that is currently sitting in Alcatraz
That's
East.
awesome.
And I've been waiting to get some reference pictures so I can put all the dings and shit in it.
yeah.
And then I'll have
You're gonna
I'll have
build
an
you a
actual
Bundy?
replica.
Nice.
Yeah, gonna have a little Bundy car at my booth.
That's cool, dude. That's cool as hell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, this incident in broad daylight, though, at Lake Sammamish State Park in Washington is where Bundy attacks two women at two different times of the day
Bro.
in July of 74. I mean, goddamn. And the other attacks all happened at night, so this is in the middle of the day in a very
He's
crowded
just brazen
state
as
park.
fuck right now.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
doesn't give a fuck.
Fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, 4 witnesses came forward to describe an attractive man in a sling and a tennis outfit who's driving a Beetle. He killed the two women 4 hours apart, and just fucking incredibly fucking brazen to go out there and just fucking do this shit. And using his real name, driving the same fucking car, the sling, the whole thing. He's just completely oblivious that, you know, he's on the police radar at this point. But this was at a time when the police didn't communicate with each other like they do the different departments.
Now they fucking do.
Yeah,
Back then they're like, no.
computers, you know, make that all possible. But back in the day, they didn't have that. So he was able to do this shit over and over. And the police put out a sketch, though, of the suspect.
See some of those
I
sketches?
feel like
Some of those sketches were pretty
Yeah.
not far off.
Yeah.
right, yeah. Fucking what were we talking about? Oh yeah. Never mind. Go ahead. I
My
forgot.
So, Chris, some hunters find some skeletal remains. Everybody take a drink.
Oh shit! God damn it! Drink skeletal remains.
Of one victim, and then later some hikers find some more, dude. What's going on here?
They pretty much came across this fucking graveyard, dude. Like
Yeah.
where all these fucking women were at, and they weren't even buried, and so they come like we said something about earlier, Green River. So they thought it was the Green River killer at
Right.
first, but it wasn't. It was Ted Bundy.
Right.
But eventually, like Joey said, or was it Jeff, said that eventually they used Ted Bundy to fucking profile basically fucking Gary Ridgway. Like they use him to help catch him. It was years of later, but it still helped with the profile.
Right.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and now I remember what I was talking about, or what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
what's that?
The Sammamish incident, before we go away from that, this goes on, like, I feel like Bundy almost had a mental checklist of things that he wanted to accomplish as a serial killer and how he was going to be remembered. And killing multiple at the same time, that was one that he wanted to do, and I feel like Sammamish Park, that was like,
Could be.
that day he got a couple. Later
Right.
on, he was going to do even more. You don't hear about that very often, even with the big serial killers killing that many. Even BTK, when he killed the fucking Otero family, that was like an accident. He didn't anticipate all them people were going to be in the house. So he got all them kills, but it wasn't even supposed to go down like that. It was supposed to be an individual, encounter. So Bundy, he was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. I mean, this motherfucker would have killed a whole fucking room full of 50 nuns if he, could have fucking made it to that point.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, dude. That is definitely a valid point.
Yeah.
So now he moves to Utah after getting accepted in the law school.
He's
there.
going
It's
back to
amazing.
law school,
These
baby.
law schools are just accepting anybody, apparently.
It all works out for him in the end.
Yeah. In September of 74, he rapes and murders a hitchhiker in Idaho. But after his crime, he took pictures of the dismembered body before tossing it into a river. And he's continuing to rape and kill women in Utah, Idaho, Colorado. I mean, making him very difficult to catch.
Yeah, I was going to say,
around.
like, could you imagine, like, all three of these
Yeah,
different
they
states?
don't know.
But
They're
it's
not
like,
talking to each other.
What the hell is happening right now, man?
Yeah, and no relation to the victims, which makes it almost impossible to catch him.
Right, just random
Really
girls.
amazing. Joey, now Bundy would later talk about these rituals he did with the victims. What was going on there? Talk about weird.
He liked to keep the bodies around for a while and fucking hang out and kick it with them.
But they got to be...
If he's going to do... Right, if he's
gotta
going to
be
do
good.
that, they got to be fucking looking good and fucking smelling good. So, clean the hair, shampoo it, fucking put makeup on, fucking, how he wanted it to go on, not how their fucking stupid asses made up their faces. Right? And, I mean...
God damn, bro.
I've never seen... I don't know if they're out there. Maybe, Jeff, you know this, but I've never seen any of the photos of it whenever they found the bodies out in the killing fields or whatnot. But I got to imagine, because like Chris said, they weren't covering stuff because he would go back and revisit them.
Yeah.
He talked about that's what Ridgway did because that's what he was
Right.
doing. But I imagine when they found them that some of those bodies probably, were creepy looking, like makeup all over them and fucking posed and who knows. But I've never seen any of the photos from any of that shit of any Bundy victims. Really,
BTK you can see.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is really weird. And then Jeff, I mean, the media, usually leaves out the more heinous shit about this guy, but, he was absolutely brutal. I mean, just off the charts brutal.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of times the media, or at least the police, what they're willing to release, especially at this time, is really more about them trying to keep as many of the cards to themselves so that they can catch these people. Because, again, like we mentioned before, they don't have DNA, they don't have any communication between the departments
Right.
or anything. So, like, they got a really small window to be able to try to catch anybody. And it's either an eyewitness, somebody
Yeah.
who's seen it, or it is somebody like coming forward with evidence that
Like,
they
I
know
actually have this.
isn't possible for them to know.
Right.
Or
Right?
just dumb
They-
luck.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, like when you look at some of the stuff with who is it? Shit, I can't think of a good example.
I was
right
thinking
now.
Rifkin
But anyway,
was just dumb luck when they fucking pulled him over for the license plate,
Yeah. There's so many of them that got caught that way. But like when the police would release that stuff, they just don't talk about some of the things. And I don't think it has anything to do with, keeping the public not in all that gruesome shit. I don't think that they really care about that as much as they care about if we tell the whole story, then we'll never really know, because then all of these people pop out of the fucking woodwork and say, well, I did that, and I know this, and I know that. And just like Henry Lee Lucas did, right? He would take bits and pieces from all of these different reports and all of the different evidence that came out, and then he'd complete the story with all his own bullshit and get them to believe what he was saying.
And get
so
strawberry
they didn't wanna
milkshakes.
release all
See,
that stuff.
God damn it.
And the palm, don't forget the Pall Mall. Don't forget the Pall Mall.
And the pummel. God damn it.
So the murders keep on happening. The police in Washington use a payroll computer, a real fucking dinosaur, to
it's
build
probably
a
the size of this
database,
room.
right? To build a database to help catch this killer. And some of the remains now being identified, so things are starting to fall into place a little bit. But since the murders stopped suddenly, they're not sure if the killer's dead or in prison. Most likely he didn't stop because, as we know, serial killers can't stop, but he's in other states, and so it's becoming incredibly difficult to catch him. But Chris, the cops in Washington put all that data into computer, And what do they get?
They got some motherfuckers that drive a Volkswagen Bug, fucking called Ted, and they coming through. It's 1978, and he gets pulled over. I don't remember the reason he got pulled over, but like he jumps out of the car and runs. I mean, he had to scuffle. Like he did it both times. He gets out of the car and scuffles, but he ends up getting put in jail.
Right.
And they find, what do you find in Ted Bundy's car? You got a jack, got a bottle of water, and you have a rape kit. Come on, man. That was like the easiest question in the world, dude.
I was trying to figure out where the fuck you were going there.
You got a rape kit. God damn, it's Ted Bundy's car.
Right.
I mean, you got rope, you got handcuffs, you got pantyhose, you got like with face masks tied into them. Crowbar, which is his favorite weapon anyway, dude.
Yeah.
He loves that crowbar. And just other shit.
So
He just wants to fucking go out and kill. You got a Volkswagen Bug.
So you know the ski mask that they found in the car and the ice pick, those are at Zach Baggins' museum in Vegas now. I've seen those when I went there. This is funny. I was trying to look for like some doll clothes so I could sit them in the back of that Volkswagen Beetle that I have for the fucking Bundy car. I was trying to find that online the other night, looking at fucking Etsy and shit, and I could not find anybody that does a ski mask for dolls.
Hey, Jeff, hit me up. My old lady or my daughters can do it.
Okay.
What? 100%.
Oh,
dude.
I'm in, dude. That'd be fucking fantastic. It's got a trunk on this thing.
Yeah.
I can put it in there with a little tiny ice pick.
But there were 26 names on that list, and Bundy was one of them, like you were saying, Chris, that matched the name with that Volkswagen Beetle. But, the cops don't have enough to detain him, so they had to let him go. Bundy later would say the cop missed his stash of crime scene Polaroids that he had in the car, so that's probably, good for him, not good for the cop. Bundy destroyed them as soon as he got away, so very close call there. But the police were keeping him under surveillance while he's in Salt Lake City. He ends up selling his Beetle to somebody, and then the police get a hold of it and search it, and they find hairs that link him to 3 of the victims. So definitely keeping an eye on him. And then, Joey, imagine what that car would sell for if you could get a hold of that. And
God damn.
Murderabilia, huh?
I mean, did Jonathan Davis own that car before it went to Eastern State or no?
Wait, was that what it was?
No, I couldn't remember if he did or not. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he owned a bunch of fucking shit. Obviously,
yeah, he's into a lot of that. Shit.
I would like Jeff. Have you seen that? Have you been to Eastern State to see the car?
Are you talking about Alcatraz East?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
'Cause they have.
I'm thinking. Yeah, Eastern State's in Pennsylvania. I'm thinking the other place, Kentucky or Tennessee.
Yeah. I've been down there to see it.
Yeah,
I actually took pictures of it and everything. So super cool.
My girlfriend and I are planning a trip. We're going to go down there to check that place out because it looks so fucking awesome. But yeah, Bundy's car. I mean, yeah. Could you imagine if you were just the dude that he sold it to, and then you find out what the fuck happened in it?
It was like, oh my god,
shit.
this car is worth. What?
Yeah. But then in '75, Joey, the police put him in a lineup, and what happens, dude?
Well, they basically think it's him to begin with. They put him in this lineup, hoping to get an arrest. His fucking parents put up the money to bail him out, like they're still there for him, unconditional love. And while he's waiting for trial for all of this heinous shit, he's living in Seattle.
Right.
Having a good ass time. Probably killing.
Yeah, out of jurisdiction.
I can't imagine they would have let him
weird.
do that, but this is fucked up.
But they did, yeah.
But Jeff, November of '75, there's a meeting in Aspen, Colorado. What happens there, dude?
So they got a meeting with all the lead investigators.
Did you say all the weed investigators?
Of all the states that he's lead. So they have a whole summit, and they call it the Aspen Summit, where they're gathering all this fucking information to figure out like this killer, which is crazy because of course this predates all of the VICAP stuff that we have now, where like all of these police organizations are all now working together, and it's because of Bundy that we have all of that, right? If it was, I mean, not that this is a good thing, but if it wasn't for the crimes of Bundy and the things that he did, crossing all of those state lines and all the county lines, we would not have the technology that we have now. And I think that's one of the things that I often argue with people when they're like, you know, hey, you know, we shouldn't be ingesting all this true crime. But how do you get to the place where you develop technology better and better and better if you don't learn from the past? And you don't understand like what has happened and how we can make things better so that these things don't continue to happen. You know, I've always been a big believer in that.
I always tell the people on YouTube that get like that, I'm just like, dude, just use the back button and go watch cat videos or something. I don't know what to tell you. You're coming to Murder Metal Mayhem. I don't know what you expect other than some straight up brutality. And, you know, we're fucking dealing it tonight. I mean, this is definitely over the top. I mean, this dude is just, wow. And it's February of 76. Bundy's found guilty of kidnapping and assaulting a victim. He gets sentenced to 15 years in the Utah State Prison. The prison guards find him in the bushes over there. He's not jerking off, Chris, but he's getting his escape kit together.
No, he gets going.
He's got his maps and shit.
His maps?
Yeah, he's got a kit with maps, flight information, and a social security card.
Oh, but no, wait, we talking about his first escape?
Well, he hasn't done anything yet. They just found him in the bushes with this stuff. And it would just be at the beginning of this same fucking escape run here. And he's charged with murder in Colorado and expedited to face those charges in July of 77. But Chris, that escape, the first one, how does that go down?
He's in court, but since he's like his own attorney or whatever, they allow him to go in the fucking goddamn law library.
Right.
With no handcuffs.
Right.
Like, whatever. Right. There you go.
Yeah.
And the guard that's supposed to be watching him didn't hang out. Like, oh, basically I got to go rack a piss or something.
Right.
Next thing you know, fucking old Ted Bundy's like, I'm out. He flips the window open. He jumps out the window. He sprains his ankle a little bit, but he still bounces.
Second floor, right?
Yeah, 2 stories. He's off the second floor. Yeah, 2 stories. He jumps out. So I'll give you the sprained ankle. Get it. But he bounces, dude. He's gone and fucking gone for like 5 or 6 days out in the woods and shit.
Right.
Like,
Probably froze his fucking
dude.
ass off out there.
I think it was like June, right? So
it was? Okay.
Yeah, it was June.
Okay, yeah, so that wouldn't be too bad.
Fucking Florida.
In the mountains, though, it could be a little rough. But they caught him after he stole a car, and he was driving erratically, so they brought him in back to jail. Friends and legal advisors, you know, ignoring it. He just totally ignores him. They just tell him to chill the fuck out and stop trying to fucking escape. But he's got other intentions, Joey. I mean, now he's doing a second run at the escape. What happens here?
I mean, this dude is fucking...
This is crazy, man.
A trapeze... Yeah, he's basically a fucking trapeze artist, fucking contortionist.
Definitely contortionist.
Dude, what were we talking about? 1 foot fucking square in the ceiling? 1 foot that he fucking cut out through reinforced fucking steel. And, I mean, this is great. He did it while motherfuckers were out in the yard. And
taking
he had a fucking,
showers, too, when they were taking showers.
Did he have a hacksaw smuggled in?
Somebody gave him a hacksaw blade, one of the other inmates.
Yeah, while he was in there.
Motherfuckers could hear him and told guards, I hear something that's in. They're like, nah.
Right.
It's like... Bro, there's really something going on up there.
Right.
The guard's like, nah, you're full of shit.
So besides all of this, once you get this fucking hole fucking created, getting your body into a fucking 12 by 12 fucking square, you know what I'm saying? That is crazy as hell. And he fucking made his way out of this shit, escaped. Fucking
but
gone.
Carol Ann was smuggling in money to him, so he had some cash on him.
He was, he was
but
fine.
He lost a
he had
shit
some commissary
to do that too.
Right.
Oh yeah. He probably fucking used some of that cash to buy the fucking hacksaw.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably easy to buy heroin. That way you didn't have to eat.
And she should have got fucking charged with fucking abetting that shit.
Fuck yeah.
But he escaped into the crawl space, so everybody take a drink there.
Crawl space.
Hell yeah.
Fuck goddamn theme song.
Anytime we mention a band name or a song name in the notes, we have to take a drink. So I'm just drinking water though, so it's not a problem for me.
And I took a hit of weed because my drink is, I don't know where my drink is right now.
I took a drink of beer.
So he's out for the night, and Bundy changes clothes and walks out the fucking door, man. He escapes through that crawl space into the jailer's
he goes in,
apartment.
puts on street clothes, just walks out like,
Yeah.
for real. There's been like so many things he's done throughout his fucking shit that looks like something out of a movie.
Right. Yeah, it's like unbelievable, you know.
It's just what the fuck just happened? Okay, so you just jumped out of the second story window, you're gone.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's out of a movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
just like
unbelievable.
cut a hole in the bars, went through the ceiling, got street clothes.
And the jailer was out with his wife, or he would have
Yeah.
been in the apartment, so he knew enough to do it when the guy was gone.
That's straight movie shit.
Yeah. So it's amazing, though, how fucking ballsy this dude is. And for my years doing sales, sometimes when I was doing cold calls, to act like you belong there and you're not like a visitor was the way to get past that gatekeeper there at the front desk. And it used to be almost fun as a challenge to try to see if I could get in. But this guy is really good at fooling people. I mean, he's been doing it all his life. We know how smart he was, and that obviously helped him. Good-looking guy. That's, of course, going to help. And if he looked like Richard Chase or the Gorilla Killer with all that fucking vegetable oil all over his face,
Jesus
Chris,
Christ.
then he would be easier to catch. He would be easier to catch, right? But Jeff, this motherfucker plays, trains, planes, and automobiles now. He's fucking stealing cars. That breaks down. What happens next?
Dude, he does all kinds of shit to get himself out of this mess that he's in.
What the fuck?
And he ends up going all around the country before he ends up down in Florida, right? He ends up, he takes a plane out of Chicago. He gets on a bus. It's crazy because they have no idea that he's escaped. Like, they don't know
they're
until
on
the
Christmas
next day.
break, so there's like a skeleton crew there.
It's literal like plain just Christmas, not Thanksgiving,
Right,
dude. Like
right.
literally.
It's funny to me because I just watched the other day. I watched Shawshank
great
Redemption
movie.
again, and when you watch that movie, right, it's a great movie. But you can see some of the inspiration that Stephen King
From
got
Bundy.
from the Ted Bundy,
Right.
Whole thing, right? The escape that
True.
Andy Dufresne has when he leaves and he grabs the clothes from the warden and everything before he escapes. Dude, it's the same thing that Bundy did when he
Right.
escaped through the thing, right? He grabbed the guy's clothes and everything and walked out the front door. So it's just, it's amazing how much these different stories and stuff have affected our pop culture and the novels that we read, and anybody that believes that all of this shit doesn't affect all of that is out of their mind.
I agree with you, dude. So from Chicago, he ends up in Michigan. He steals a car, drives south to Atlanta, ditches the car, gets on a bus for Tallahassee.
He was trying to hit all 50 states, I think.
It sounded like
Israel
it.
Key style.
At first, Bundy claimed he was going to stay clean, and then figures, he could avoid capture if he didn't get into it with the cops. But he tries to get a construction job, but they want to see an ID.
Yeah.
He must not have gone to a roofing company because I don't think they would have given a fuck.
And I've been like, oh wait, you're not going to lay shingles?
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. You're not.
You got cocaine?
You're right.
You're not in jail.
You
Come
got
on.
booze, you got cocaine. Oh, you got a driver's license too?
Fuck, you're the golden boy with the driver's license. So
sorry, roofers. Roofers might listen
I
to us.
Yeah,
they
nothing
know.
against young
Dude,
roofers,
I've
but,
told jokes like this in classes where I've taught roofers before,
Oh, yeah.
and they laugh. They think it's
Right,
funny.
right.
because they know. But, he goes back to what he knows, fucking crime. He's doing small stuff like we were saying, shoplifting, stealing women's wallets while they shop. He spends nights in a boarding house. And Chris,
he's just chilling.
You know Bundy, man. He's got all those college girls fucking prancing around down there in Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, man. Fucking January 15th, 78 is like a month and 2 days before I was born.
Wow.
But yeah, he goes to Chi Omega sorority house, and this dude just says, fuck you. He's just got a log, dude.
Right.
A log. Like, fuck the crowbar, whatever. I just got a chunk of wood.
Firewood.
And I'm just going to fucking
Ren and
go.
Stimpy, right?
Dude, it's log. It's log. Exactly. And he just fucking comes in there at like 2:40 in the a.m., 2:45 in the morning, and he just starts beating these girls. And he does them one at a time systematically, and he hits them so hard that they don't make noise, basically. So he just like goes around the house and he just murders them. And then he's like choking them out with their fucking goddamn, what do they call them now? Garter belts? No, nylon stockings and shit. Like, dude, but he fucked these girls up. Like, there was so many of them in a short time. It was like 4 in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, that first one was the one that he garrots and then fucking chokes her out with their stocking. And then Joey, the carnage doesn't stop there, man. He goes for another victim.
Yeah, he fucking, he's still strangling. But this one, man, second one, he tore her nipples off.
God.
Nipples off. And he took a fucking huge bite in her ass cheek, which
that comes back
people
to
know
bite
the
him.
Ted Bundy story. Yeah, you already know this is the fucking moment.
Literally
right
biting him in the ass.
Yeah, literally. Like I said, that come back to bite him.
But there was also a third victim who got her fucking jaw broken, fucking got a cut on her shoulder, and a fourth who had her jaw broken. Lost several teeth and had a bunch of bones in her hand broken, probably from
defensive
mechanisms. But man, at this point, Bundy, he has escaped. He's on the most wanted. Everybody's looking for him. He knows it's a matter of time. He has to fucking get his fucking fulfillment of fucking pleasures out in the world before he gets locked up. He's not dumb. He knows it's going to happen. He's going to get caught.
He's going to go rampage.
But man, he fucking takes it as fucking extreme as he can.
Does.
And he goes to a goddamn sorority house because that's to him where the sexiest, whatever, most fucking desirable females are going to be at. And he fucking just brutalizes that shit. And this motherfucker walks out of there too, which is even
that's
crazier.
What's fucked up.
You talk about, like Pete's doing all the Idaho 4 stuff, and it's like, how do these people not hear shit in this fucking big house? And Bundy said, fuck you, I don't care if you hear it or not. I'm fucking causing carnage. Yeah. And if you get in my way, I'm going to bite your fucking ass.
Exactly. But one of the most brutal displays, by one person, and I know in Idaho, we talk about Brian Koberger, and, he's accused of those 4 killings. And, obviously the circumstances are different, but the comparisons can be made, that, 4 victims in Idaho, the police say, in like a 10-minute window, which I think is pretty tight. But, Bundy did it in 15. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But personally, I think he, if he did it, and I'm still on the fence on Brian Koberger, but I think that if he did it, was not alone. I think that there were more people in that house, but I don't want to get into Idaho 4 because we'll be here for another 6 hours.
But Bundy was so fucking extreme, and he had fucking killed so many by this point. He goes in there. 15 minutes could seem like an eon to him. He can go in there and fucking cause some fucking damage. Yeah. Obviously, that's what exactly what happened. But, he is the fucking case study for, there's a lot more time fucking ticking in there than you realize.
In his head, it's going way slower than what it's actually going.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, Jeff, what was the carnage there at the sorority house? Where did it end up?
Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned all of that. You know that he went in there and really demolished everything. And you know, I think it's interesting that Bundy was staying not very far from there. And you mentioned this earlier. I was just down there, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever, down in Tallahassee for a convention, and I stopped by. It's a funny fucking story. I get there at like 6 in the morning, right, and it's dark out. And I have the video up on YouTube of me being down there, and I get out, and like the Chi Omega house is still there. It's still this Chi Omega house, right? And it looks like it's been redone in the front or whatever, but it doesn't look a whole lot different than it did. And it is right smack dab in the middle of this campus. And so there are people around all over the place. And this is a college campus, so people are up at all hours of the night doing their thing and, you know, partying, whatever. And so, like, I was there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm out front. I parked, like, there's a little bus, like, depot thing right down the street from the Chi Omega house. And I parked there. I turn on my flashers, and I walk back about the block back. And I'm walking in front of the house, and I'm like videoing, and I'm like, you know, talking about, you know, this is where Bundy was, and he came and killed those 2 girls. And while I'm there, a guy runs up, like he's fucking out jogging at 6 in the morning. It's like, it's hot out, and he's out there jogging, and I'm thinking, oh shit, man. I think I'm
right. Yeah, like, something bad's gonna happen. Yeah,
I'm like working around outside the sorority house at 6 o'clock in the morning taking video. So I got out of there. Like I was only there maybe 5 minutes, but I stayed long enough to go to the parking lot next door, and you know it would be really easy to get in and out of there. You know, it's right there. There's a parking lot next door. There are a couple other buildings around there. And, like, you could really go in there,
sounds
go
like
in
you
the
thought
back
about
door,
this
come
a
out,
bit.
and be hidden. You know, so, but yeah, so, and you were talking about the other people that were also injured in that, the other 2 girls. One of them was Kathy Kleiner, and she just wrote a book. It just got released. I think she's written more than one, but this is her newest one. It was just released at the last Crime Con. And so she talks about all of the struggles that she went through in her life, including the struggle with fighting for her life against Ted Bundy. And so it's fascinating, you know, but I believe that when Bundy went in there and did that, right, now we're talking about he's escaped from prison, right? He's killed all these people beforehand. He feels like he's ready to get caught. He's running from the law. And he is just at this place where psychologically, like, he is still the animal, right? So as the animal, you have to do what's natural to you. And what was natural to him was killing, and this is obviously different from a lot of his other crimes and a lot of his other murders. This was completely a frenzy kill. He went in there to kill all of those people and was completely out of control. It's why you see that he leaves all this evidence and shit.
The bites are so fucked,
all of that
man.
stuff are not his it's not his typical MO, right? He doesn't leave a lot of evidence at the other crime scenes. And so here he does, because he is completely out of control. He is completely having to fulfill the fantasy that he has, and he cannot get away from it at this point. So it's fascinating to see that cycle. This is almost like his apex of who is as a killer.
But Chris, it doesn't stop there, man. He goes,
like, he
runs
leaves
8
there,
blocks.
dude. He's out, dude. He's out. He goes and runs. He goes. I can't remember the girl's name, but it was a 20-year-old fucking FSU. If you don't know what that means, it's Florida State University. Fucking, it's a 21-year-old student. He fucking goes in, and he dislocated her shoulder, fucking broke her jaw. He beat her, fractured her skull, like there was skull slivers in her brain. Now, unfortunately, this young lady was a dancer.
Yeah.
Like a prolific dancer. and it fucked up her whole vertigo and equilibrium. So she was no longer to fucking be able to do
That's
her
fucking
passion,
horrible,
her
man.
love in life because of Ted Bundy. Maybe he didn't kill her, but he killed something inside her. So
Yeah.
fuck you, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, that's awful. And he's absolutely a killing machine at this point. Hard to imagine a dude like that could fit through a 1 square foot opening being that fucking beastly, but it is unfucking believable. The amount of rage inside him was absolutely off the charts, and that hatred of women from that breakup from Diane and his mom and all that situation really, really fucked him up. And he left behind a semen stain and a pantyhose mask with hairs that were similar to his. And that's back before DNA was used. So they could really, you know, only get a blood type from the semen stain. Whereas today, of course, that would be very difficult evidence to overcome. But Joey, now this dude has this stolen fucking FSU van and he's on the move again, man.
I mean, he makes it 150 miles, which is pretty gnarly since you got a fucking state-issued vehicle that's stolen
Right.
and fucking you're on the run, you know. But anyway, so he tries to get this 14-year-old girl saying that he was with the fire department, but luckily her older brother showed up and fucking Ted's like, fuck that, and he fucking takes off.
Right.
But next day he fucking ends up finding 12-year-old Kimberly Leach and, you know, found her at her school. Fucking, I don't know, fucking pretty fucking bad. She'd been raped, throat cut, and genitals mutilated with a knife. I mean, this girl just experienced the worst that Ted Bundy had to do. Like, he was like, this is my last one, I'm going out
Sorry,
with it.
buddy.
And it was fucking, he was also, you know, supposedly so goddamn drunk through all this, his intoxication along with his fucking primal rage during his Florida fucking streak, you know, it's fuck shit up. FSU. He was in the right
he was in
area,
Florida.
I guess.
Had to get
Yeah.
crazy. The amount of crazy shit in the. Go ahead, Jeff.
So when I was down there in Florida, the same trip that I went to Tallahassee, on the way back I stopped in Lake City. And so I went to the middle school where Bundy kidnapped Kimberly Leach. I went over there to see like how he did it, because it's a really weird crime. Like, he parks his van right on the street. Like, he turns on the flashers and he runs across this like little opening where there's a tree in the middle, and the students are going from one building to the other between classes. And he grabs Kimberly Leach and he brings her back to the thing, and she doesn't want to go with him. And there's a guy that identifies him later on, because he's sitting there stuck behind this fucking van that's stopped in the middle of the road. And I went there and I thought I was going to jail when I was there, because the caretaker, it's no longer a middle school, right? It's administrative buildings there for the school district. But I was there and I was taking video again, and like the caretaker comes out and he's like, what the hell are you doing there? And I was like, oh, well, I know that Bundy was here. I know the whole Kimberly Leach story. This guy went to school there with her. He was there the day that she got abducted. He remembers it. He was a really, really nice dude. So I went from there and I drove the 40 miles northwest of Lake City, and I found the dump site.
I remember.
And I have that all on video. I went back there where the fucking pig pen was, where he dumped the body underneath, and I found the sinkholes where the water was in, and I went back there and looked. Dude, that was fucking wild. And you want to talk about, like, you know, when you're driving from Lake City out to where he dumped the body, like, you're thinking, like, why the fuck did he go all the way to this one spot? Like, there's a million places you could dump a body back there. Like, it is desolate down that stretch of road. And so I was like, why did he choose to turn off at this one place? And then I turned off the road, and there's part of the video where I'm driving, and it is a dirt road. And it is out in the middle of fucking nowhere. There is nothing down there except for a bunch of farms. And so there's like several farms, but I don't know what it looked like when he was there. right? There was probably not as many people back there, but it is wild. EJ said that I'm like the second person that's been there since the cops were there. Back in the fucking woods there, and like right as I was leaving, and as I got in my car to drive off, one of the farmers came out in his pickup truck, and I was like, "Oh shit, I better get the fuck out of here."
That's for sure. Yeah,
I'll be the next body in the woods.
So,
well, one thing also that's for sure is that the day after this episode's released, every school district and fucking administrative educational facility is going to have a picture of Jeff. And it's going to be like, do not allow this person on your property.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine if one of the survivors, if more of the survivors hadn't made it. I mean, the body count would have even been higher. But imagine, more of this shit is just absolutely nuts. It's 1978. It's February. He's out of money. Can't pay his rent, steals a car, makes his way to the panhandle of Florida. Cop pulls him over for a roadside check, realizes the car is stolen. It was a Beetle. He must have really loved those cars, but he kicks the cop's legs out from under.
Hence why that's Volkswagen Bugs and Ted Bundy always go together.
That's
he
right.
loved them.
That's right.
And they loved him back.
He kicks this cop's legs out from under him and takes off. The cop fires a couple warning shots. They're wrestling around for the gun. The cop manages to subdue Bundy, put his ass in cuffs. So fuck yeah to that dude. That's awesome. Officer David Lee, man, you're a fucking beast.
The fact he fired warning shots, though, is kind of what's up. Like,
right.
I guess he was running away. You can't shoot him in the back. I got it.
Right. So, Jeff, the stolen car, they find some shit. What do they find?
So they found a bunch of IDs of all the some of the different college girls that he was. They found credit cards that he had stolen, a stolen TV, and he had no idea who this was because here Bundy gives a fake name. So apparently he learned, like after his stints in prison and having to escape, that he probably doesn't want to tell them who he is because he's already on the top 10 most wanted list. So, he was not having any of that. But it's interesting to note that, we often, there's this idea that Bundy at this point wanted to get caught, right? And there is no part of Bundy that ever wanted to get caught. I don't think
so either.
He never stopped trying to escape, right? Later on, when he's in prison again, he gets caught trying to escape again, right? He saws through his bars again. And so, he never once stopped trying to get away and to figure out a way to talk his way out of it.
It is really amazing.
It's amazing.
This guy is just such a fascinating dive here with this one. So he tells that cop, though, that he wished he would have killed him. So
he did say that.
He told the cop that.
You should just kill me, man.
Yeah. So June of '79, he stood trial for that Chi Omega incident with the 2 murders and the 2 assaults. He would be his own attorney, but have some attorneys consulting him. But we know that never ends well.
Never works good when you fucking try to represent yourself. I've never done it. And you know why? I'm not totally stupid, dude.
And there would be a 75-year plea deal offered with no death penalty, but he refused it. That narcissist. He would have to, get up in front of the world and admit what he did. And according to one of his attorneys, he said he just couldn't do that. And the trial was obviously a media circus, and the trial ends just as we predicted. Those bite marks got his ass.
Yeah.
And that odontologist,
yep,
is able to confirm it's his teeth that made those bite marks, and he was given 2 death sentences over that. So,
yes, sir.
I use that shit for one of my Goremonger shirts, pulling her hair.
Yeah.
Bundy's.
I love that shirt.
Oh, shit.
Hell yeah.
So, Chris, 6 months later, he stands trial for the Leach murder.
Yeah, he's on trial. because a witness saw him take her from the school or whatever, and he was found guilty. He was going to get, but so Florida, right? Yeah, had this weird law. Like, if somebody proposes to you while you're on fucking goddamn trial, you can't get the death penalty. So that Carol Ann Boone is what you said, like, cool. She marries him. He ended up getting the death penalty, but still, he fucking. It's just weird how somebody would want to just marry. You just got accused of or convicted.
Well, didn't he have her up on the stand, and that's how he like proposed to her as his own attorney?
Is that what it was?
To circumvent that they wouldn't let him get married. Wasn't that it, Jeff?
Yeah, there was something weird. I don't remember what it was, but it was some
yeah.
weird fucking Florida law.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a smart guy. Probably could have had a really, should have been a better, good lawyer. But he did this horrible shit, and it's a fucking waste. Reminds me of A Bronx Tale, right, Chris?
I love that movie.
Wasted talent, man.
A waste of talent.
If he had been the most badass lawyer in the world, he would not be talked about and known
Exactly.
to this day
That's
as much.
Unless
true.
he's
If
Jay
he was
Jansen.
Ted Bundy, the serial killer. Right, yeah. Jay Jansen, if you're from fucking Illinois.
Johnny Cochran, right? So, Joey, we could spend a lot more time talking about his time in prison, but in an effort to not turn this into a crazier, longer episode than it is, why don't you tell us about the execution?
I thought it was kind of cool. Fucking, this motherfucker wants to act like a badass the whole time, and actually he's fucking scared as hell of his own fucking death. He doesn't want to die that way. Like, he said, he would have been way happier if that cop would have fucking shot him, and just fucking ended it right there. As he fucking feared this shit. No. And he fucking, he fucking made it last forever. He fucking dragged with appeals and everything else. He was trying to manipulate the system by telling them that, man, you have to fucking study me. You need to use me so you guys understand about serial killers, because this is a thing that's going to become fucking huge. Anyway, fucking inevitably, fucking the time came that Bundy was going to die. I mean, there were people posted up partying for this shit.
Yeah.
Out in the
100%.
fucking penitentiary,
Like,
they want to see fucking.
Go on YouTube and look at the fucking videos, dude. Like, they are out there.
Well, I got that Burn Bundy Burn figure.
Yeah. But anyway, so fucking, they asked him if he wanted to have a fucking last meal. He didn't opt to have anything, so they gave him the fucking standard or whatever they were having at the time. He didn't even eat it. This motherfucker was, his stomach's probably so fucked up he couldn't have ate nothing because he was so fucking scared that the day had finally come that he was going to fucking die. They asked him if he had any last words, and quivering, he said, I'd like to give my love to my family and friends.
Right.
And that was all. That was it. And they fucking put a fucking strap into his chin and mouth, fucking put that fucking skull cap on. Old Sparky down in Florida. That shit's infamous, and that's where fucking Bundy hung out at. Now, the thing was, he had, I don't remember how many it was, Jeff might be able to fucking remember, but there was a lot of witnesses within the fucking walls, too, that watched this go down, saw Bundy die. Media spectacle was fucking, their presence was huge. It was fucking way bigger than anything else that probably had happened.
And what year
that.
did he get executed?
87?
Yeah, I couldn't remember that off the top of my head.
No, it was not.
I can't remember either.
So, I mean, it's an interesting story with this dude.
We're all like, don't even know when he died.
The
We're like,
the document.
It was
89. Okay,
It was
89.
89. It was 89.
So
That's what I
the
thought.
docu-series, they don't get into the straight brutality shit, but of course, Murder Metal Mayhem's going to go there. Chris, any bands to mention that have done songs other than Macabre? We played that earlier.
The Macabre song, yeah. I looked it up, and I actually listened to it a couple of days. But Bloodbath did a song, fucking thrash or death metal band, fucking. They did a song called Anne. That's what got, because it's about old girl that gets her head crushed in with a rock with the other girls watching. What was the other ones? Edge of Sanity did one called Murder Divide Dead, like DEAD.
Okay.
Macabre, the Ted Bundy song, obviously. And then Macabre also did The Wheels on the Beetle Go Round and Round.
Oh shit,
That's the best song.
Dude, that song's so fucking good, dude.
that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Violence did a song called Serial Killer. It's about Ted Bundy. And I didn't even realize that. But yeah, there's a few of them, man.
That's cool. I figured there had to be some.
And there's the other ones that are not metal. I mean,
Right.
you got James Dixon they did a song called Ted Just Admit It.
Oh wow, that's funny.
So then I guess Stripped, Raped, and Strangled by Cannibal Corpse is based off Bundy.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anything to add to this one, guys? Ted fucking Bundy, man. It was a big one. I think we covered it pretty well, but you know, like I said, we could have gone further in and been here for a couple days. But anybody want to add anything?
Boys?
I did my research over a lifetime following true crime. I've read several books about him. Very fascinating. I did touch up and watch the Real Crime documentary on the World's Most Evil Killers, which I love that series. The good, just catch up on it. I did use Wikipedia for some stuff. There's much more out there. Murderpedia, of course, is another resource I used. Now next week we're going to do a really cool bonus episode for you guys. I did an interview last night with A.R. Hayes. If you're not a YouTube user, go check his channel out. It's called A Convict's Thoughts, and A.R. Hayes is a convict who's very forthcoming about it, and we got into it, his time in prison. We talked about some of the cases like Delphi and Idaho 4, Danny Masterson. We talked about BTK.
Oh, wow.
And so I think you guys will like this. He did some time at Corcoran in California. Really cool, down-to-earth guy, and I really enjoyed talking to him. So that is your bonus episode next week. We're going to be off next week.
Real quick. Back to Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
I know you have, Joey. You probably have too. And Jeff probably has. Y'all have seen the 2002 movie, though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I just want to check that. Because that was good as fuck.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of the better ones I've ever seen. So since this is a bonus about Ted Bundy, that's the end of the podcast. We do appreciate you guys checking it out. Bumper music tonight, Joey, was by who?
Macabre, Chicago Murder Metal. You got to do
Fuck
it.
yeah.
We do.
And Chris, that metal segment.
If we had the metal segment tonight, it would have been the Great Metal Motherfucker by Crysis.
That's right, but no metal segment tonight. I forgot to take that out. The intro, though, was Crawl Space by Low 12. Don't forget, if you need a tattoo and you're in that southern Illinois, St. Louis area, go check out Epic Ink in Edwardsville, Illinois. Ask for Kaylin Stowers, and you could go to her Instagram page, which is witchywoman_ink, to see what she's got. Looks like a lot of cool stuff, so go check her out.
Fuck yeah.
I'll link to it down below, Facebook page link, and then you can check that out for yourself. And she specializes in dark, creepy shit, so sounds like our
The
kind
macabre.
of girl. That's right.
Jeff,
all right, well,
good
Jeff,
hanging out with you, dude.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming on with us tonight, Jeff, and we'll see you guys next time. Horns fucking high.
Hail tacos.
Mother, man.